Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Dash and Holmesy Break Your Hearts. I'm one of your hosts, Dash, along with my co-host, Holmesy. Hello, Holmesy.
How you doing? It's been a long
good.
time. 5 weeks, in fact. Holmes in 5 weeks.
Holmes in 5 weeks. Oh my god.
Look, I was thinking about it this whole time, and I'm like, look, I'm going to drop this. I have to drop it at the start of the pod.
Great. So you've been banking that, haven't you?
Banking that, yeah. It's good to be back, man. I'm glad to be back. I've missed you, dude. It's been a long time since I've actually been able to sit down and just talk in general, not even just pod.
Yeah, of course. It's always good to talk to you, dude. But of course, we do a podcast.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, this is Dash and Holmesy, our tri-weekly book club inspired gaming podcast. Good segue. Where Holmesy and I sit down and talk about some of the games that we've been playing. Today, we're actually talking about Catherine Full Body, thanks to the kind folk over at 5 Star Games who provided both of us a review copy to sit down and produce this podcast. If you like that, make sure that you hit that subscribe button on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, where you can give us those cheeky 5-star ratings and also all those other podcasting services. And of course, you can watch the VOD on YouTube and over on dashgamer.com. Holmesy.
Yes.
So, of course, we always begin with, well, we this is our second episode of the season, but in prior seasons, obviously, we began with, what day are you up to? So did you write down what day you're up to?
April 6th.
Hey, he
I
got
got it right this time. We remembered.
Nice.
While we were.
So
I'm
you're
up to April 6th is
Nice.
is the date at the moment.
Nice. So I should ask you, what are you, in terms of progression of your, so there's obviously 3 paths. There's 3 paths you can take in this game. Well, there's 7 endings, but there's 3 paths. So what I should ask is, you're obviously taking the path of going down Catherine with the K, yeah? Catherine McBride.
Catherine, the one, like the wife Catherine?
Wife Catherine.
Yeah, like I'll say the wife, the now pregante Catherine.
Pregante.
Am I pregnant? Yeah, that one.
Pregante.
We've been following that one more
Right.
so throughout the game so far. Yeah, so that's the kind of path we've been going down at the moment.
No, fantastic. So let me ask you a little bit about the personality traits of Catherine McBride. How are you finding her personality towards Vincent right now after like all these events have occurred?
More recently, I feel like it's been a lot nicer, I guess. She seems like she's kind of got like ever since she's told Vincent that she's pregnant, like it's kind of been like, well, first it was just like, I think I'm pregnant, and then part of what I've been playing through so far is what she came around and just like dropped off like a nice cake, and she's like, yeah, it's one of these really nice cakes, hope you like it. And then as she's leaving, just like off the cuff, like, by the way, I'm pregnant, I definitely am. And it's like, oh, okay, so you didn't come here to drop off cake, you came here to disguise dropping off cake, or disguise telling me that you're pregnant with dropping off cake.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, I know in the start and like earlier on, like I think earlier scenarios where she was talking about the future and what we're going to do, and Vincent getting distracted, not paying attention. I think at one point she like stabs the table with a fork, and I was like, oh, she's a little fucking crazy. And now she's kind of like, ever since she's announced that she's pregnant, and I guess, I don't know, maybe she's just more happy with the fact that it's like, well, if I'm pregnant, then you can't leave, and now we have to have a future. I don't know. It's kind of, obviously it leaves lots of your thoughts and lots of your mind. Maybe she's just also just, I don't know, happy with the way that things are in general. But Vincent's really not been here properly lately, so who knows?
Yeah. Do you feel like she's making an effort to tie him down and make sure that he doesn't go anywhere at the same time?
I think so. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's part of like, I mean, obviously you can't, in the phrase making an effort to tie him down is sort of valid, but also like you can't really make an effort to be pregnant. You're either, you've got a kid or you don't. So like she's got a kid now, she's pregnant. So now she's just like, this is it. You're fucking mine. We're talking about getting engaged and married.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
it. It's baby time.
Yeah. How do you think Vincent's handling the situation?
Not well. Not well at all.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that happens, like, I really don't like the quote unquote protagonist in this game. He's got a very weak personality. He's indecisive. He's uncertain about everything.
Yeah.
He's essentially cheating on, in other people's minds, he's cheating on 2 different people with Catherine with a C and Catherine with a K.
Yeah.
Both of them think that he's in a relationship with them, and obviously in his mind, I guess he is too, but he hasn't told each of them about the other. So yeah, he's a bit of a piece of shit, and Yeah, there's more I have about that I'm going to talk about later with developments that happen as time goes by, but we can get into that later.
Fantastic.
But I don't like the guy I play. I really, really don't like him.
You really can't, like, obviously we've covered this in the last episode as well. You really weren't a fan of Vincent at all.
No, like, yeah, I know this is just like real world shit crossing over here, but I got no tolerance for people who cheat, man. So like seeing it in a video game is just like, man, I'm playing a guy who cheats. I don't want to be a dickhead in the game, but here we are.
Yeah, so. No, fair enough. So yeah, like we've covered this in the first initial episode of the season, where basically I told you that this one is going to be a little different. This is going to touch notions of personality traits that you will or won't agree with. Obviously, strongly don't agree with. In the notion that he's committed adultery with another person. It is very, very much so. The game is trying to pass judgment a lot on characteristics of humanity. And, especially when you go through some of the nightmares, and then afterwards it even gives you those questions as you get to the next level, and even shows that pie chart.
The mysterious voice in
correct,
the confession booth all the time. I noticed today, actually, I thought it was cool that the mysterious voice in the confession box, like the grate or the grill that's between, like the thing that's supposed to disguise who is who. Yeah. The mesh is made up of the male and female gender symbols and the heart as well, like the hearts in between. But I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of nice little attention to detail, but
yeah,
it's cool.
Have you gotten to know a little bit more about Rin yet?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's get into that a little bit. Go on.
I did find that out today. I was not. First of all, I think it's great that a game has done this. Yep. But yeah, was not expecting that.
Oh, great. I was hoping not. But yeah, go on.
Absolutely was not expecting. So yeah, we're playing the game, doing our thing. We wake up one morning. More stuff we'll obviously go back and talk about in a bit, but this is pretty much just about where I've finished the game.
Oh, so really? Far. Okay.
It's just about, I think we played maybe a little bit more after, but this is just about where we finished. But yeah. Wake up, walk around the corner. Rin is the apartment next to us, and we see what we think is smoke.
Yep.
Coming out of her apartment. So we burst through the door to make sure that she's okay, and we see her on the floor, rolled up in, I think, a towel or something, or a sheet.
It's a towel.
Roll her over, and we then discover that Rin is actually a guy, which is very unexpected. I mainly because of the voice actor has a very feminine voice. Obviously the clothing as well, and the haircut and everything. There's a lot that leads you to believe that Rin is a girl or a female. And we find that in the game, and it's definitely a big surprise. Obviously, an even bigger surprise. This is the other thing we're talking about. The other thing that I do not like about him. Okay. About our guy, not Rin. So Rin is great. That I do not like about Vincent. Sorry, I should specify. I do not like the fact that Vincent slaps Rin's fucking hand away while he is trying to console or comfort and be like, it's okay. It's just I mean, sure, if you're shocked, that's fine, but you physically slapped someone away from you, just told him to. I don't know. It's just he just doesn't do anything right.
No.
I really don't like that. Our guy, he's almost an antagonist instead of a protagonist. If he dies in this game, I will not be upset. I'll be like, fine, that you deserved it.
So this is that's the thing about this game, is that it actually it does its best to play with your emotion in that regard. Obviously, what it also is doing is also testing people's judgment as well when they're playing this kind of game. This was one of those games as well. I remember when I was sitting down to write the review for when it first launched, I knew that I was going to have to be very, very careful. One of the best things about this as well is that I was hoping that you didn't know nothing about the game as you were playing it, which is great.
I've not looked anything up about it.
So now you've discovered one of the game's biggest secrets. It was honestly one of the worst kept secrets as they were teasing it, but I knew that you knew nothing, and I was like, this is great, because if I get Holmesy to play it, he's not going to know nothing. So in the motion of this game now, it essentially there's a big risk factor in this game altogether. I knew there was going to be some controversy about it pre-launch and post-launch, and there definitely has been, obviously, with the fact of Rin being, I probably would identify her as trans. If anything, and it's just one of those things where now it plays in the motion of you still have three choices to make, and you can go down that route. You can go with Catherine McBride, you can go with Catherine with the C, or you can go with Rin. And that's the thing, like it still plays with that. And it's kind of monumental in a way because there's only ever been one game from Atlas where it's kind of experimented with people getting into relationships, whether it's trans, homosexual, or anything like that. And that was Persona 3, I believe it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or Persona 4 Golden. I can't remember which one it was. It was either one of them.
Well, you able to be gay in the game, were you? Or?
Correct, yeah. You're able to have a gay relationship in the game, which I thought was great too because, a lot of people have expressed that with Persona 5 and also Persona Q series, I believe. That I don't know why you can't do that. Oh, no, sorry. Actually, I'm wrong. It was the Persona Q series you could do that. It wasn't the Persona 3 Golden.
You can't in Persona 5 at all, can you?
No, you can't.
It's only, yeah.
And a lot of people were upset about that. And I think they haven't confirmed anything yet for Royal. So that'll be interesting to see if they have implemented that in Royal, especially seeing as they've kind of gone down that route with Catherine full body now. Obviously in the original, they didn't have Rin there to experiment that route. Obviously you said you thought that it was great that they've done this in the game. What makes you think that that's like a great thing to go down within in the game?
It's just inclusive. It's I think there's a lot of stuff. I mean, we'll talk about. Well, obviously, we won't talk about it like for ages or anything like that. But there's a lot of people like with is different, but things like movies and all that. Like you see in movies as well. Like, oh, why is there always just like a straight relationship that's like a thing, and it's always like the girl falls for the guy or the guy falls for the girl. Is it? I know there's. I think it's just very inclusive that they've decided to include something from. The LGBTQ. I apologize for not knowing like the full acronym for it all, but LGBT community in a game in that way. I think it's really, really cool, and it's just good to see game developers being inclusive of all like in that community in general, especially obviously like you said Persona Q having like being able to have like a gay relationship. It's just good to see people leading the way with stuff like that, and hopefully it makes other developers and publishers think like, let's try and do something like that in our games as well. It just makes everybody feel included in the game or in a game in any way. Yeah,
100%. I thought it was great when I first saw it in the trailers and people were kind of sussing it, and because the moment, that cutscene that you see where Rin stands up and Vincent's face kind of like his jaw drops a little bit, that was one of the focus points in those teaser trailers and the main trailer of the game. And a lot of people were like, oh, have they done it? Like, is this going to be a thing? So it was a big tease as the game kind of led up to launch in Japan. Personally, I never read any spoilers because I didn't want to know until I played the game.
Yeah.
But it was one of the game's worst kept secrets. However, it really showed a little bit more, as you said, inclusivity, in terms of just creating a story-based game like this about love interests and all that kind of stuff, and to actually have that option as well, which is fantastic. I love that. So now in saying that, you now have that third option kind of open. So like that is actually the entry point now for your third option. If you did want to go down that route in the game, that was actually my first route I went down, and the reason And the reason I say that is because I obviously I played the original game, so going down with Rin's route was brand new content. That's necessarily why I went down that route. But if I were to talk about the other ones, I'm not sure because I haven't played the other routes yet in full body. So this is where our experiences have now kind of differed again. One, you have opened up the Rin route a lot earlier than what I did. Because once again, I opened that route a lot later into the game. That whole cutscene there happened for me way later in the game. So yeah, we're doing things a lot differently here, which is interesting. So tell me, what was that the very last thing that happened in the game before you switched off, or?
Just about, I think. Like that happened. Actually, there was, I think, maybe another night. I can't remember if this is before or after now. I think there was maybe one more night and we wake up and there are ants in our apartment.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Because we leave the cake on the ground that our pregnant Catherine leaves for us when we're trying to cover up the fact that Catherine with the C is in our apartment and disguise it as our boss instead. So yeah, that happens, and then we wake up and there's like ants all over us. And then that kind of happens. And he's starting to, the more we're seeing now, he's starting to clue in more to, oh, that's where we are now. The last thing I've done is we were sat down in the diner, or in the Stray Lamb, and we're sitting down talking about, like, everyone has just suddenly had this, like, I don't know how we've gone so long, but everyone has just suddenly had this little epiphany, even though it's been a topic of conversation and people have been saying, like, oh, there's all these rumors about people having strange dreams. And then suddenly, unanimously, the whole fucking table says, you know what? I've been having strange dreams, but I can't remember what they are. And then there's 4 people all having the same thing, but it's taken like 5 days or something for this to actually happen in game. It's like, how is it a thing? How do they not speak about this sooner when it's been like a topic of conversation amongst everyone before? So that is the last thing that happened, and that's literally where I saved the game.
Tell me about your relationships right now with your friends at the bar. All of them, though. Like, I'm talking like the boys at the where you sit down with the boys at the in the booth. Have you spoken to Boss a bit? Have you spoken to Erica a bit? Tell me about your relationships there.
I've actually, they've kind of left. I've still left those, actually. I haven't actually gone back and revisited those recently. The rest of the guys, like, speaking to, I mean, obviously there's Erica, who's she obviously takes care and like does like service and stuff as well. Like, we've spoken to her a little bit, and she's talked about she was one of the people that was when we upset Rin, we run back to like the diner or the bar, and we're like, where's Rin? And she's like, you didn't freak out about this, did you? And he's like, you did. Call her and apologize right now, or call him and apologize right now. So there's a bit of a relationship there still. Like, I talk to them pretty often when like I'm in there. I've also started drinking at the bar in game after you told me that the more you drink, the faster you move, which I did not realize. I thought it was the less you drank, which would make more sense in my mind, but apparently not. So, hey.
Has it helped? Have you noticed in game that it's helped you a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Another thing I really, really like about doing that is when you're drinking, you get little bits of you get little trivia tidbits about different drinks and stuff.
Correct.
I was like, I think I did one of them. It was like butter, sugar, water, melted butter, and rum or something like that was like a type of drink that people have. And I was like, that sounds fucking cool. I'm gonna look this up. I'm gonna make one of these. Yeah. There's like all these extra things in there about like that stuff about wines. The
drinking trivia.
I don't even know. I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
The rest of it, you don't really get much out of the guys. Like, I talked to, like, there's Toby, Orlando, and Johnny, like the main guys you sat down at the table with, and you sit down and you'll talk, but you don't really get much out of them when you just kind of like speak out in general. Like, they still don't have any sympathy for you. Like, when you have general conversations and cutscenes, they're just like, well, look, you brought this upon yourself. I did notice one thing I saw with Johnny when we were talking about Rin. And they were asking Vincent, our guy, about, Rin confessed that they love Vincent. And Johnny's talking about it, and he's like, well, do you love Rin too? Like, do you, and you're like, I'm not too sure. I don't know. And then you see John, it like there's a close up on Johnny's hand, and his hand kind of relaxes, and you're like, okay, so Johnny's got a thing for Rin. Johnny's got a thing for Rin, knowing that the Rin is transgender. He's got a thing for us. So like,
is that what you got from that?
I think so. Yeah, either that, or he's, for some reason, like, he's either got a thing for Rin, or he's opposed to someone being interested, like a guy being interested in a transgender person. Which I'd be interested to see how the game plays that out, because that'd be a very confronting topic to see if they were having people being opposed to someone being transgender inside a game. That's a very tough and sensitive thing to implement in a game. So that's why my mind has immediately gone to Johnny likes Rin instead, or Johnny is just wants to be defensive of Rin. So I guess I'll find out more about that as the game goes. But
correct,
yeah.
Wow, interesting.
That's kind of it. I should have spoken to more of the people around the bar, but I've sort of neglected them instead, because I was kind of like, I wanted to get some of the puzzles done too. Like, I kind
of course, no, I understand. No, that's a very interesting perspective that you've come to me with in terms of Johnny and Rin and all that kind of stuff.
Well, how did you interpret it when you saw it first?
I can't, because I already know the story too well. You know what I mean? Like, this is your blind playthrough. I like the story. If I come to you and I'll tell you now, I can tell you basically how it is, but then afterwards it's like, that's spoilers. But at the same time, like I said, all these events that you're telling me about very early into the game, because I experienced all this stuff near the end. So
maybe it's like Persona 5 in the way that, like, you know how you said, I remember back when we were doing like P5 Dash Home to Take Your Hearts, and you said there were different ways to end the game, and you could basically finish the game super early. maybe that's something that I've done. But like even then, like
Maybe.
I can't skip the puzzles. Like the puzzles are
No.
still something that I'm doing. Like I'm up to level like the 6th level now. Like I think it's something like that, or up to coming up to the 7th now.
Okay.
Because there's 8 levels in total, right?
Correct. So you're up to this level 7. Is that what you're saying?
I think I've just done level 6, which I think is like each day. April 6th is I've just completed level 6, and then I'm going to go to the night of April 7th to be level 7.
Okay, so okay. So no, that does put a little bit more into perspective. So you probably are around about where I was, but it's still all this stuff still happened later for me. Maybe because it's the route you're taking and not the Rin route, basically.
Possibly, yeah,
It could be, yeah. Okay, so during the story, it would have been noted that Johnny does have a partner already. So Johnny already has a partner. What it is the guys. So with Johnny, oh god, I can't
Johnny, Orlando, and Toby.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I'm trying not to spoil it. That like Toby. See, the thing is, Toby's a youngster. When the guy, obviously, you get a lot of high school flashbacks during the gameplay, and obviously you have Johnny, Orlando, Vincent, and somebody else with them. Have you picked up on who that somebody else might be?
No.
Okay, cool.
I don't actually recall any high school flashbacks.
There hasn't been any high school flashbacks for you?
Maybe I'm just forgetting them.
Has there been anywhere was there a romance scene near the start of the game where they're in bed, where Vincent and Catherine McBride were in bed at all? Like they were high school sweethearts?
Oh, stuff like that. Yeah, yes, sorry, those. I'm thinking about like all of the guys together. I think there might have been maybe one, but like no, yeah, there's been lots of like they've been talking about the mysterious voice has been saying things like this is the last memory I'm going to show you, or like the last flashback, or
yeah,
like,
okay,
talking
that's
about
good.
revisiting.
So
and you see like
So he's already given you your last memory.
Yes.
Do you remember what that was?
I'm 99% sure it was we were at Catherine's place. Catherine with this K, the one that's
McBride, yeah.
And it was like the first day, like me, like your character Vincent asking to be her to be your girlfriend.
Oh, okay, yep.
I'm pretty sure that was the most recent memory, the last one that they said it was the mysterious voice said it was going to show us. Yeah.
Do you remember in the cutscene there was one more where they were at school? They were up, they were in like upstairs in the school. Catherine was walking in a cheerleading outfit. She had shorter hair. Yeah. You remember this? So there were still 4 guys there. There was Vincent, Orlando, Johnny, and another person with them. That other person is around. I can tell you that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty obvious then who that's going to be.
Who was it?
Oh, Rin. Because Rin doesn't have any memory of who they are.
No.
Oh, no?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. No, I don't know.
I can't believe that you haven't picked up on who this might be at all. So there hasn't been any clues or anything to... Interesting. Okay.
One thing, the only thing I don't know about is... So weird thing that happened, because obviously we don't, when you're in the, I guess we'll call it the dream space, like when you're dreaming, you're a sheep.
Yep.
No one knows who the other person is or anything like that. So you could talk to somebody in the bar or whatever, and then you go into the sheep realm and you can't tell who's who kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That actually happened too. Like one of your high school friends you talk to at the bar, you don't recognize who they are. And then I saw them doing puzzles and he was thinking out loud, like, I can't believe he would just walk up to me and see me like I was in such a bad space. And then my high school friend sees me and doesn't even know who I am. And I was like, oh, it's the guy from the bar. Just talk. Yeah, but your character doesn't do that. But
that's right. Yeah.
In doing that, there's so go on.
No, I was going to say, so like you're off the mark a little bit here because this character that I'm actually cluing you in on, I'm trying to clue you in here a little bit because it sounds like you're about to finish the game without actually finding out another big secret about this game.
That's still on topic is like that's what I'm kind of like leading to. We had somebody that we've spoken to, this guy named Steve.
Yeah.
That we don't know who this Steve is because he's mentioned someone named Catherine.
Yeah.
And this Catherine, apparently from like the description over the phone, looks nothing like the one that Vincent is seeing. And like the remark that the remark that Vincent makes when he's done on the phone as it cuts out and he's explaining is like, that's not the Catherine that I'm seeing because the Catherine I'm seeing is white. And then obviously you're seeing 3 different Catherines, obviously anyway, but they are all white.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I'm wondering whether there is something like this, the Catherine with a C is actually... I don't know, like different people. I don't know whether that's possible at all, but like there's 4 Catherines now.
Right.
There are now 4 Catherines in this game. There is one that we haven't seen, and I'm wondering whether instead of there being multiple Catherines, if one of them is actually able to be several and is playing
with Vincent's head.
Yeah, well, several people's heads. Everyone who's in this dream realm.
Oh, true. Yeah, good point.
I don't really know. I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't know. I had good and bad predictions when we played P5, but that's one of the biggest things. That was one of the bigger revelations, seeing that kind of shit happen. So
I love this. I love it. I love it because it's like exactly what you just said. Your predictions of P5, they're on the mark, right?
Some of them were. There was a couple that weren't.
No, obviously not. But this one has thrown you through a loop. I love it. So
I'm still guessing. I don't know what the end outcome is going to be for this game. All I know is like Vincent's a dickhead and he's got himself in a shit ton of trouble.
What do you? So I have a big feeling that our next episode might be the finale. So what do you feel like you might encounter in terms of like the finale? Like you're obviously kind of making a prediction here that you're saying that Catherine might be multiple people.
Or is capable of being multiple people, yeah.
Is capable of being multiple people. Do you have that feeling that could be one of the cases? Do you have any theories that it could be a different thing altogether?
I mean, I would hope towards the end of the game we find out who the mysterious voice is. I really hope we see who that is. There's obviously other things at play here, like the same as we talked about this the first episode, where it feels like this whole space is like mementos. And yeah, there's other stuff going on here. Like there's 2 realms, and the dream realm for some reason we can't remember being there, or no one can remember being there.
Yeah.
Well, we did have like a weird moment where we remembered seeing like for the briefest moment we remember seeing Rin playing piano, and Vincent has like a small flashback of seeing like Rin, and like he's like, have we met somewhere else before? I feel like Endgame we're gonna find out a lot about like there's just gonna be like one episode or one part of the game. Maybe I'm hoping at some point it ends up being kind of like Persona 5 in a way, where the end of the game is actually we're all in this shadow realm, this dream realm thing, and we're all in the same place, and we find out everything while we're in there, and we kind of like are aware of the fact we can explore more. I'd like to find out who Catherine with a C is, because we really don't know anything about her still.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Like, I couldn't really predict or say much else. Like, it's just, there's so much ambiguity around this game, so much that you just don't know and they don't tell you. And I'm intrigued. I don't know how it's going to end.
I love it. Tell me about your progression right now with the puzzles, because you picked classic mode, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
How are you finding playing? Because in terms of that, you are playing the classic Catherine puzzle game. How are you finding it now, level by level? Do you feel like the difficulty is actually starting to spike a little bit on you, and you're finding it really hard, or?
Yeah, I'll say the hardest one. I say the hardest. It was just the most
challenging.
I guess probably the right word. I guess challenging. I think I only died like once or something like that because I made a dumb mistake. But the ice blocks were probably like the most difficult of all of them, because you've got to sit down and like stop and think, but you gotta like take your time and be like, if I walk this way, I'm gonna slide into a block that stops me. And I think one of them I just didn't think, and I jumped across and I just slid off the edge. And I was like, okay, good one, dickhead. The other level though, that was like the one that followed after that subsequently, was the bomb level, and it was like, or bomb platforms where you step on them and they go for like time out and then they explode. And that one I didn't find as hard. I was just like, okay, there's no time pressure here really. All I need to do is look at where the bomb blocks are, plan my route before I run, and then just fucking run.
Nice.
And I was fine. I didn't die that level at all. The ice one is the one that got me, but the rest of them have really been, pretty okay. I've been talking to the sheep as I go up that teach you techniques to make you think outside the box.
Yep.
And they've actually genuinely been helping quite a lot. It's made the entire experience so much easier, just being like, hey, I'm stuck at this particular obstacle, but thanks to the sheep that we had earlier on, I know what I have to do. So it's those tips actually help quite a lot.
Yeah. I found that fantastic, because obviously you find different ways to actually maneuver and manipulate the puzzle that is presented to you on screen, to actually try and form that kind of ladder up the tower. Obviously, I should ask. Also, have you noticed that like they have disguised some of these sheep as well to look like some of the people in the bar as well? So you kind of like noticing, oh, hold on a second, I know you from the bar.
There's different, like, the clothing and stuff. Like, there's people that, I couldn't tell you, like, names of people right now because I can't. I think the high school mate that we saw was wearing, like, a shirt or something when he was sat down, so he was one of them.
Yeah.
But I recognized them, obviously, from the dialogue they said more than anything.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, there's other people in there that are starting to show more traits of who they are, which kind of that's also part of what's leading me to believe we're going to find out. I almost want it to be that we get to an end and all the people that have made it as sheep turn into who they are in real life, and everyone is just like, what the fuck? Where are we and what is this? Like some shit like that. But I don't know whether that's going to happen. I think it'd be pretty cool if it was something that did happen though, because then everyone would be like, where are you? What is this? And some big overseer, the person that's orchestrating this all, is like, this is why it's happening. This is who you are. This is what you've done. This is why you're here.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Exactly, yeah. Look, the end goal obviously is another big one. They're obviously playing with themes of religion again, which is funny considering that we just finished Persona 5 and that did that as well.
Yeah, they really like bringing that shit into the game.
Yeah, they really do. It's you obviously got a confessional booth. Yeah, it pretty much looks like a church when you get to the landing as well. Like the you know, it's really weird. It's one of those things where they really love playing with humanity and toying with it. Once again, that word manipulation does come through, mainly because it really does feel like it almost. Their creativity when they make these games kind of toy with reality and what we believe and how we perceive things and what we put in motion as humans ourselves, like in terms of emotion, decision making, all these kind of things. It's one of those things where it's funny that they really take those kind of just generalize things from humanity itself and make quite an interesting story, a setting, plot, development, all that kind of thing. It just really makes it quite interesting to play. So yeah, no, very, 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 very good. My final question. So how how do you feel right now about so Catherine? We haven't spoken much about Catherine with a C. So how are you feeling right now about her character and how she's manipulating Vincent and how she's trying to get the one-up on Catherine McBride? Not necessarily one-up. I'd say more along the lines of she probably doesn't fully believe that Vincent is faithful as he's claiming to be towards her, because it's obvious that he's trying to hide the secret that he's with Catherine McBride just as much as he's hiding Catherine with a C from Catherine McBride.
I think that Catherine with a C in this game is part of this whole Dream Realm thing.
Okay.
I think that they know exactly what is going on and they are part of what is making all this stuff happen. The main reason I think that is maybe two or three, maybe three different things. Number one, we always forget whenever Catherine with a C comes around. We always forget that ever being a thing. But at some point, she shows us messages that we've sent, being like, hey, you asked me to come over because you said you're feeling better and stuff like that. Or we never recall her coming around, but all of a sudden we wake up and she's in our apartment kind of thing. This happens. We never remember being in the dream world. We also never remember stuff about her. So that to me makes me think that she's part of that. The other thing that made me kind of suspicious of her and think that more stuff is going on around her in that dream world thing. There's a random scene, a scene earlier on, where she confronts us about cheating on that character, and says basically you have to something about basically you got to tell me or I'll kill you. What sounds better? You kill me or I kill you? And if she's you need to say something or you need to tell me in 5 seconds or I'll kill you. And it's okay. So it sounds playful, but it's sort of that, giggly laughter, but also I will actually genuinely fucking murder you. So I'm not quite sure what to take from this character.
Yeah.
They have a very unpredictable demeanor, and I think that they are, I think there is more to them than meets the eye in many ways, and I'm keen to see how they kind of play into the story.
Yeah. Do you think she's Actually, I shouldn't say that. Who do you think is the antagonist of the series? I could ask. Do you think she is? Who do you think is the antagonist of the series?
Vincent. No. Probably Catherine with a C.
Okay.
Catherine with a or Rin. Rin
Yeah.
is not, I don't think, at least. Catherine with a C has definitely been the most disruptive of everyone in this game so far, so I'm going to say that.
Do you feel so? I'll ask this as well because you're playing this for the first time. As somebody who's played the original, do you I see some sort of injection of Rin into the game? Do you feel like Rin's placement of the game is a little offish compared to the other characters, or do you think that she's blended in perfectly for you, not even to notice that?
She's got a very quiet character or quiet demeanor about her, so like you don't really notice a lot of the time that she's in there, but they quite the opposite of that now. Like there's the mysterious voice constantly saying that a lot of things revolve around Rin. Like there's she's in the is in the center of all of this as well. So obviously a lot is going to revolve around them in the future. When I think I paid more attention to Rin's character more so, aside from it being like, oh, we saved Rin during some weird encounter in the city, and then he doesn't remember anything, and it was very kind of like innocent random character that was just like on the side, and then we start to see them playing piano in the dream realm, and all this other stuff. It's just like there's so much that happens around this character, but because they're so I don't know, they don't make Rin doesn't really make a big noise about themselves, and he just kind of is there. So you don't really pay as much attention to his character because so many other people are doing so many outrageous and loud and lewd and ridiculous things. So Rin is just like that wholesome character on the side that just things sort of happen around.
Yeah, no, 100% with you. By the way, we want to stress to anybody out there who's listening, because this is one of those controversial things about Rin's character that has been made, is that when you play the game, they identify Rin as male completely. They even say he and his. That's how they identify him, like by pronoun. They actually don't identify her as her or she, which was something that was quite controversial when the game launched. They were like, after it was exposed that Rin was identified as male in the game, it was basically they were pronouncing it as he, him, and people were like up in arms about it because obviously the trans community, you identify as she or her and all that stuff. So that's purely based on what the game is giving us here. So that's what we're identifying Rin as basically. So that was one of the things that happened that a lot of people were very upset about, and so I can understand why. But yeah, we're just basically going off what the game's giving us here.
Yeah, actually, now I think about it, you say that, and I don't know. I didn't actually pay as much attention to it after the whole thing happened, but I don't recall how Rin's friends identified Rin after it was made. Obviously, after people were made aware that Rin was trans. Rin has never actually said what they identify as in the game.
Not at all.
He or she at all? Yeah, I don't know.
It's a he. No, they've pronounced they have identified as he, male.
So Rin does identify as male in the game.
Yeah, apparently, like when Vincent finds out, he even says you're a guy, and he says yes. So it's one of those things where a lot of people are up in arms like, wouldn't she identify as trans in the game or anything? Like personally, I'd see it as like she identifies as trans. That's how I would see it. From even from like just basically purely looking at promotional packaging. I've got the collector's edition staring right at me here. I look at that and I go, there's 3 females on that cover.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where the game has now pushed it that Rin identifies as male. It's to be honest, for me, it's confusing a little bit, but it's just one of those things where a different culture in Japan and everything like that. That's what it is. So, but that was one of the big things, one of the big controversies out of the game. As well, but I'm glad that you're up to that part as well. So you actually now have exposed yourself to one of the biggest surprises of the game. I'm surprised that you still haven't uncovered another one, which is kind of a bit but you'll get there, I'm guessing. If not, I'll tell you next episode. Don't worry.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it. We've covered pretty much a lot of ground this episode, actually. I didn't think we'd actually cover that much, but there you go. You are near the end. You're near the end game. At least you're near the end game for your story, I'm guessing.
I think I've got, there's eight levels, and I've got level 7 and 8 to complete, at least for the sheep realm.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, there's not really too far to go now until I'm done.
It'll be interesting to see what your end game is, because would I be spoiling it if I said this?
Don't say it then.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it. We'll see what your end game is, and if it is in the next episode. So, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Have you got any final thoughts? Have you got anything that you wrote down that you want to share with us? Or
I mean, I had like notes, but most of it is stuff that I've kind of like. A lot of it is saying Vincent's a cunt. Vincent's a cunt. Nah, there's nothing really terrible.
No,
in there about Vincent.
Not terrible. Like, anything informative that you want to share or anything before we wrap it up?
I did. Because I wanted to see what it did. I did it for like only a few little blocks. I have like a small note in here. The autoplay is fucking nuts. Yeah. I literally put it on because I was just like, oh yeah, it tells you about autoplay. I've never done it, so I put it on, and then like it went like a quarter of the map, just quickly by itself, and I was like, what the fuck? This is nuts.
Yeah.
But you get a way lower score for doing autoplay as well. Yeah. I noticed. So
you don't get any score. Yeah.
You get a way better score if you do it like.
Yeah, obviously.
You can get like a gold or an S tier finish, and if you do it yourself, you get a better. Even if you're getting like a low multiplier, you still score better.
Yeah.
But no, we spoke about a heap of stuff already, and pretty much everything in here has been. Yeah, we've covered everything.
No, fair enough. Holmesy, this has been fun. Sitting down again, talking about Catherine, doing another episode of the podcast with you. It's been a lot of fun to catch up again, and hopefully we won't leave for another 5 weeks.
I was about to say, hopefully we can come back in 3 weeks this time and actually get it done in 3 weeks' time.
Definitely will. We might be back sooner. I might actually have to turn around and be like, hey, Holmesy, we've got to sit down and talk about Persona 5, The Royal.
Yeah. Yes. Look, we'll sort something out.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a lot of fun. But guys, if you didn't know, this has been Dash and Holmesy, our tri-weekly book club inspired gaming podcast where Holmesy and I have been sitting down talking about Catherine Full Body. If you like that, make sure that you follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. You can give us those cheeky 5-star ratings. Also, over on dashandholmesy.com and dashgamer.com. Now, quick note before we do go, next episode might be the finale. We don't know yet because it's such a shorter game. So we didn't expect that. But that's pretty much how it'll be. We will be back with a Take Your Hearts episode sometime soon, talking about the Royal and Scramble. So make sure that you follow us for that, for those Persona 5 fans out there. Excuse me. But yeah, it's an exciting time for the podcast as well. Also, one other thing before we do go, we did make mention of this on Dash Culture, but for our Dash and Holmesy listeners, exclusive Dash and Holmesy listeners, just recently we departed from 8-bit. There is an update up on dashgamer.com, so if you want to check that out, we have a few juicy details of some other things that are happening with the website. But the major one was that our podcast network, our network of podcasts that we had part of 8-bit, we've mutually parted ways with 8-bit, and we want to thank myself and Holmesy want to thank Brendan for helping us out. With launching Dash and Holmesy, being part of the 8-bit network, also allowing us to have a sponsorship with Audio Technica when we first started the podcast as well, providing us with some equipment as Holmesy taps his Audio Technica mic. So we want to thank Brendan and the rest of the 8-bit crew for having us along for the journey. But we are now an independent outlet. We are out on our own, part of dashgamer.com, so we want to thank 8-bit once again for allowing us to be a part of their family for that short period of time. But guys, thank you so much. We'll talk to you very soon in another 3 weeks with another Catherine episode. But until then, this is Dash and Holmesy out.
Bye-bye.
dashgamer.com